My story is called It's Game Time. March 13th, 2013 was a cloudy and dreary day. My wife, Ashley, and I arrived at Akron General Hospital at 7:45 a.m. This was the day that she was to be induced. Our little man was then 9 days late, and he had been cooking in that belly for too long. Going in, I had no idea what was about to happen. I was neither scared or relaxed. I didn't know how to feel. All I knew was that it was game time. When I leave this hospital, I will have a son. Ashley was walking a lot quicker than I was. She was really pregnant. I guess I was just lost in my mind. I wasn't paying attention to her lightning speed. We checked into the maternity ward, and the nurse took us to a big room filled with an enormous bathtub with jets, and an exercise ball, and a bar to grip onto by the bed. The stage was set. I thought to myself, well, this is probably going to be insane. My nerves were kicking in at that point, and the fact that Ashley was about to go into labor in a few hours was blowing my mind. So the inducing began, and thanks to our doula, she described what would be happening and how to prepare for labor. Poor Ashley wasn't allowed to eat anything but jello, in little cups of jello at that. She bounced on a big red exercise ball with such a calm demeanor. Ashley had such a sweet look of innocence in her big, beautiful brown owl eyes, and I was amazed at her calmness. I thought she looked prettier than ever, and I was so proud of her. We waited for a couple hours, and nothing was happening. All that was going on was an album by the band of Monsters and Men playing on repeat. We had probably listened to it 10 to 15 times by that point, and it was the perfect music to keep us as relaxed as possible. This was such a comforting sound to have in the background in this room of the unknown. Out of nervousness, I kept cracking jokes to make Ashley smile, and it was working for the most part. I don't even know if I was making sense, but I just wanted her to be happy. The midwife decided that it was time for her to help break Ashley's water so we get this little boy out of this poor woman's belly. Let me tell you what, after that midwife broke the water, the labor really began to start. Ashley is one tough woman, and at times it can be very hard to read her emotions, but you could see that she was in pain. I'd never seen my lovely lady so physically broken in my life, and it broke my heart. I knew I had to stay strong for her, so I followed the directions of our doula. The doula kept telling me, you can be involved in this as much as you want, giving her back rubs, you can cuddle with her, or you can let me do these things. It's up to you. I had no idea what to think. I felt like I was just being a nervous onlooker. I was rocking side to side and watching this painful process take place. A little while later, I became more confident and I was rubbing Ashley's back and encouraging her like I was a coach for a sports team. At this point, I didn't care how I sounded. Ashley was in so much pain and she was saying that she wasn't going to be able to do it. Now, those are words I had never heard come out of her mouth and probably never will again. How could this beast of a woman say such a thing? I was beyond shocked. Nevertheless, it was push time. Ashley pushed and pushed and pushed, but nothing was happening. We tried getting in that enormous jacuzzi tub for a while, and even put that insane gymnast bar above the bed for her to hold on to while she pushed, but this baby was not coming down. What a stubborn little booger. This went on for a little over 15 hours. Finally, a doctor came in and said, listen, this kid is turned around inside there. We need to get you into a C-section surgery right away. I felt devastated, as did Ashley. None of this birth plan business was going her way, and all she wanted was to give birth naturally, and it wasn't going to happen. I started to cry and told Ashley, you tried so hard, babe. Let's do what we have to do. So they began wheeling her back to the operating room. Now I really started to freak out. I couldn't be in the operating room while they were prepping her for surgery, and I was so angry. I was pacing back and forth and could only see her through a tiny little window. But finally, they took me in. This room was filled with doctors and nurses in North Carolina blue scrubs and enormous, bright, blinding lights. I thought to myself, what kind of place is this? It's freezing in here. The surgery started, and within minutes, at 11:51 p.m. to be exact, I heard the surgeon say, "We're going to need some toddler clothes for this one." They held our little boy over that curtain, and I will never forget the first time I saw his face. Finally, a dad. I felt bad because I got to hold Joe before Ashley did. While I was walking over to get him, I looked to my right and saw Ashley's insides. It looked like breathing lasagna. I immediately turned my head away because I was not about to be one of those dads who passes out in the operating room. Then they handed me this little screaming burrito, and I had only held a newborn one time before this, so I thought for sure I would drop him. But I didn't. I held on to him for dear life. After getting her stomach stapled shut, Ashley was safe and sound in the recovery room. She looked at me with those big, beautiful, and now semi-dazed owl eyes, knowing she had won the battle of birth. Though, through all the craziness and chaos, I learned that nothing goes as planned. It's easy to come up with this great scenario in your head where everything works out wonderfully with no problems, and unfortunately that was not the case. But we had our baby boy in our arms, and new life had just begun. This was the greatest start to the new chapter in our lives, and it's still game time.